everyone, I'm Ashley and welcome back to my channel, Sparky Loves Books. Thank you guys so much for watching. Today I am super excited because I'm doing an original tag video. I've been wanting to come up with my own original tag video for a long time, but I couldn't think of anything that I really could come up with original questions for that were also book related and interesting, so I didn't. But now I've come up with my own, and it is the ballet book tag. So I used to dance for about 19 years, and ballet is a huge part of my life. Even though I haven't done it in about 7 years, it still remains a big part of my life and my history, so it's really important to me, which is why I wanted to do a book tag regarding it, and that's why I'm being hecka extra today with my stupid, immature ballet ribbon for my hair that you see up there. I also have ballet shoes here on my necklace, and you can't see it, but my shirt says, "I hate running, I'll see you at the bar," with bar spelled B-A-R-R-E for ballet bar. And so that's why I'm being immature and extra, and it's my video and my tag, so I can do that if I want to, and y'all can't stop me. So basically the ballet book tag is a series of 10 questions in total that are all ballet terms, and each term has a question that both relates to the ballet term itself and to books. I'll also leave all the questions listed in the description box down below in case you're interested in doing this tag yourself. If you are, feel free to just go ahead and do it. You don't need to like have done ballet in the past to do this video. If you want to do the tag because you like the questions, go right ahead. And if you do decide to do it, leave a link to your video in the comments below. I would love to check it out. You can also feel free to do this tag on Tumblr or your blog or wherever. Again, just leave a link to your post in the comments below and I'll be sure to check it out. So number 1 is Corps de Ballet, your favorite supporting character. For me, this is Cale Westfall from the Throne of Glass series. He is probably my favorite book male protagonist of all time. I adore him. He's one of my book boyfriends for sure. He is just so respectable and honorable and will just do anything to defend and love and be there for the people he really loves. He is so devoted to Dorian and Selena. I love it so much. I think that he's amazing. I love the chemistry that he had with Selena. I will forever ship her with him, and I know that he's no longer in the series, so I'm no longer interested in those books, but the first 3 books I will forever love, and those first 2 especially I will keep in my heart forever because they have Cale in them. I just think he's amazing, and that is why he is my choice. Number 2 is Pointe Shoes, a book that made you work to get through it. And I'm gonna get so much flack from my best friend for picking this, but I am choosing A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness, which is the first book in the All Souls trilogy. And this book had everything I could want in a book, honestly. I loved it. I should make that disclaimer. I love this book so much. It has history, literature, magic, vampires, romance, is intellectually written. Everything I could want out of a book is in this. But it is dense because it does have all that history, and it has all of this sort of intelligent writing and literature, and it's very wordy, and the characters themselves are intellectual, and the male protagonist is super old, so he has a really lengthy history and backstory. So this was a challenge to get through. It was so dense in so many ways, and it has tiny writing and is like 575 pages or something, so I really had to work to get through it. And like I said, I really loved it. I think I ended up giving it 4 stars, but this really has been holding me up from reading the second book in the series, because at least when I was reading this first book, like, I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I didn't know it was going to be so dense, so I jumped right in. Whereas now I know that the second one's going to be dense, so I'm really weary to get through it. But it's like my biggest bookish goal is to finish this trilogy this year. So I need to just buckle down and stop being such a scaredy cat and do it already. Number 3 is Relevé, a book that was better than its sequel. This, for me, hands down, is Frostbite, the second book in the Vampire Academy series by Rochelle Mead. Vampire Academy, the first book, is just weird. It's weird because it has a completely different tone from the rest of the series, first of all. It is like more immature and not as interesting as the rest of the series. And also, you don't really need to read it if you're going to read this series. Like, every time I recommend the Vampire Academy books to people, I tell them to just skip the first one. 1, because it's not good at all. 2, because Frostbite, the second book, literally recaps all of Vampire Academy in the first chapter. So you can know the whole entire summary of the whole plot from the first chapter of book 2, Frostbite, without having read number 1. So why would you even bother? So I just say skip number 1 altogether and just start with number 2, Frostbite. Number 4 is Fouetté, a book whose plot made you dizzy or confused. And for me, this is The Silmarillion by J.R.R. Tolkien. I am a huge Lord of the Rings fan. I have been a fangirl of Middle-earth and Lord of the Rings since I first saw the movies when they came out, and I've loved it ever since. I love The Hobbit, I love the Lord of the Rings books, I love the movies, but this, however, when I was into the whole Middle-earth universe, learning Elvish, making costumes, getting, you know, swords that were used as props in the movies, I was invested in the whole trilogy and everything, so I thought I'd read The Silmarillion for some backstory and just to get more of Tolkien. This just made me confused though, because it reads like a history book, and I would read the same passages over and over again to try and have it sit and stay in my mind, and it just wouldn't stay there, and it was just really confusing for me. It made the whole universe more complex and harder for me to understand than before I had read it. Like I said, I think it's because it's dry and reads like a history book. And I was pretty young when I read this. I was like 16 when I read it. So I think if I were to try and reread it now, I'd probably understand it more, hopefully, maybe, I don't know. But I do plan on reading it in the coming years, hopefully like before I'm 30, pretty much. So this was just absolutely confusing for me. Number 5 is Pas de Deux, your bookish OTP. For me, this is Percy and Annabeth, aka Percabeth, from the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series, as well as the Heroes of Olympus series by Rick Riordan. This is them on the cover of this book of House of Hades. These are my babies. These are my cupcakes. This book was an emotional roller coaster and just stomped my heart up, but it still had my babies on an adventure together, which was everything I could have ever wanted. I love reading these characters when they are together. I love their banter, their interactions. I love them as a couple. I loved reading their journey towards becoming a couple and getting comfortable with each other. I like who they are individually, as well as the way that they complement each other and bring each other up when they're together. I absolutely adore them. I can't fully explain how much or why they are so in my heart the way they are, but they are. I love them. They're just my babies. I love them to pieces. Number 6 is Pirouette, best book plot twist. And I know that some people don't like plot twists or knowing about them in general. So if you're one of those people who doesn't like plot twists because it gives away the fact that there is a twist in the book, just go ahead and skip this question and go to the time that I've listed on the bottom of the screen here if you want to skip any kind of spoilers for plot twists for any potential book ever. And the book that I have here is We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. I just am still reeling over the plot twist in this book. I read it not last summer, but the summer before that, and it was crazy. I did not see it coming at all. It is hands down the best plot twist I've ever read in my life. So this book tells the story of a family who is a rich family and has their own vacationing island. And it tells the story of one girl and her cousins who call themselves the Liars. There's 4 of them all together. And it's just the story of their family when they vacation over a couple summers at their island. And it was emotional, and I cannot properly convey to you why, because that would be a huge spoiler. But I just didn't see it coming. It hit me so hard, and just bravo to E. Lockhart for throwing me for an absolute loop. Number 7 is Barre, the most sturdy or strongest character that you've read. And for me, I'm picking Charlie Davidson from the Charlie Davidson series by Dorinda Jones. And if you guys thought I wasn't going to talk about Charlie in a video, you were so wrong. But I think that Charlie is just the strongest. She's been through so much since literally the day she was born, and she always has such a weight on her shoulders and is doing 7 million things at once, but always does it with a sense of humor and does it because she knows she has to, and just pushes through everything all the time. People treat her like crap throughout her life. People don't understand her, but she still manages to be funny and be there for people and have a good head on her shoulders, and I just find that incredible, honestly, because if I were her, being the Grim Reaper and being as badass as she is, I would have fallen under the weight of it all, and she just doesn't. So I will always and forever adore her for that. Number 8 is Tutu, a fluffy read, and I'm choosing My Lady Jane by Cynthia Hand, Brody Ashton, and Jody Meadows for this one. I read the audiobook of this a couple months ago, and I can't stop talking about it. It is hilarious. It has the perfect blend of a sense of humor and alternate history retelling. It is incredibly inventive. funny as all heck, like I said, and when I did the audiobook version of it, the narrator, she just captured that sense of humor so perfectly. She had right timing, she had the right inflections, everything was so great. And this isn't a very dramatic or intense or emotional book. Even though it takes place in 1600s England, it still has that fluffiness to it. So this is my favorite fluffy read, and I highly recommend it to everybody. Number 9 is Sickling, a problematic book or character that you can't help but love. And for me, this is Dumbledore from Harry Potter. I know this is probably a little bit of a controversial one to pick, but for me, Dumbledore is problematic. The way he treats Harry and forces him into a lot of situations is not okay. The way that he treated his siblings when he was younger is not okay. The choices that he made in his life are so selfish and so egotistical and not okay. He's just not okay. I know he's supposed to be this wise man and he's supposed to be a father figure to Harry, but he's problematic. However, that does not stop me from loving him. I cannot imagine a Harry Potter without Dumbledore in it. When I was reading these when I was a kid, he was absolutely central to my experience of reading these books. Same with the movies. He, is an absolute central part of those. You cannot have a Hogwarts or a Harry Potter without Dumbledore in it, in my opinion. So I recognize that he is very important, and I do love him and his inclusion in the series. I know that his character is just full of problems. And number 10 is Grand Battement, a book that surprisingly hit you emotionally. For this, I'm picking Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe for a couple reasons. One, because the first time I read it, I went into it thinking that it was going to be a easy YA contemporary, basically, about a story of two boys. And then I read it and I just was hit so hard by it, and I did not see it coming. I was hit not only by the story itself, but by the writing. I find every word of it to be 100% beautiful, and when I first read it, I was just thinking about it for so long after I finished it and was not expecting that. The other reason I'm picking it is because I just finished my third reread of it a little over a month ago and still felt that way about it, even though it's the third time I have ingested that book. And that is crazy to me, that all those words and those sentences and that story can still feel so lyrical and beautiful and hit me so emotionally, even after having read it 3 times. And that is a feat in and of itself. So I have to say that book for a surprisingly emotional book for me, because it is forever surprising me with the amount of emotions it gets out of me. And that's it. That was the Ballet book tag. I'm going to tag a couple of people across a couple different social media platforms. I'm going to tag Annie from BLOOMTV for YouTube. I'm going to tag Marie the Librarian on Tumblr. And I'm going to tag Twirling Pages on Instagram, because I know that they all are Ballerina bookworms specifically. So I'm going to tag the 3 of those ladies. But if you guys are interested in doing this tag, like I said before, absolutely feel free to do it and consider yourself tagged by me. And thanks you guys so much for watching, and subscribe if you want to see more, and be sure to give this video a big thumbs up if you liked it. I'll see you guys in my next video. Happy reading!